Right, let's do this. 22nd November, 11:38 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendants Antechamber 5. Excellent work, Runosuke. That was superb. My heart was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there. You were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you'd started finding inconsistencies in the testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Forget it. It's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again. Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your phantom lady at last. Miss Giselle Brett, a student from Great Britain. Is she? That was what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Yes, you have, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I'm sure of. Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself. Then, on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor. And just after I bent down and picked it up, I didn't have time to think where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet. And he bundled me into some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking by the detective. He apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside in the dining area. Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. Is this the professor? Yeah. I don't know who the woman is. Professor Mikotaba. Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy, our justice system even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that might have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled. See, I don't like that, because that shows this guy doesn't have faith. Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. What are you saying, Kazuma? So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma! Oh well then. It looks like it all comes down to you, young man. To me? Yes, you need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? I don't trust him. If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UMI, and it was I who invited him. Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. But let's not forget who we're going up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I've no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight, right to the last. Best of luck. Thank you. Now then, I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need. Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama. Defendant Naruhodo! Court recess is over. Please make your way back inside. It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow. Before these old fossils know what's hit them. Kazuma. What? Thank you. Really? What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed me, then I'm fairly sure I'd already been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer and as a friend. Coming from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad? That's the kind of true friend he is. So this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Alright then. I'll save the thank yous for after... Excuse me. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. You can treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from the Yumai cafeteria on University Street. With an extra large portion, of course. Alright, let's do it. 22nd November, 12:09 p.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Courtroom 2. The court hereby resumes the trial of Rinosuke Naruhodo. Prosecutor Ouchi, have you managed to subpoena the witness? Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government. Sorry. Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about. It's highly unlikely that the good relations we forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and our nation founders? Again, terribly sorry. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. You really have nothing to worry about, Rinosuke. What do you mean? A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England? Shut up! Shut up, you jumped up rookie boy! You and your friend know nothing. Nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in. By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures. I won't deny that I'm no expert. I'm just a student, and one who could arguably study harder too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there is one thing that I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. Well said, Rinosuke. Despite the wide-eyed look of terror. You little brats! Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Giselle Brett. Yes. Your Excellency! 'Your 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 Excellen gosh. What's he doing here still? Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land. Tea! Someone bring English tea! In England, no discussions take place without tea. Is that true? No idea. So, can we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court? Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I have been working undercover as the head waiter at the carnival, but my true— Yes, we know about you already. Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first. Is that true? No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today, you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are the one thing you're sure of. Oh, yes, I think I did, didn't I? Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Inosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking. Guilty. So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please. Oh. Is she speaking English and we're all speaking Japanese or something? Like, what's the deal here? I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but what? The lady says her name is Giselle Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student currently enrolled in UR University's medical facility. Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people. I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was as beautiful as a hummingbird's song. As far as I can tell, the detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yes, I agree. You'll obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it? Okay, so he speaks English, so and he says that that was a faithful translation, so I think that's probably reliable enough. Nor you. You've clearly been paying attention in your English classes, Rinosuke. Okay, so apparently the only people that don't speak English are us, the player, which is kind of ironic when you think about it. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. 3 days ago, at a restaurant called Le Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct? I bet there's going to be a twist where it turned out that she spoke English the whole time. Well, she speaks Japanese the whole time, I mean. She says, yes. This could take some time. So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese. She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting. When you're the one who engineered her escape. I was just following special orders from the Bureau. Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic print? Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps? She's going to accuse us, presumably. Apparently it was a very frightening and sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say? Yes, it would appear that the lady did witness the crime. And she's only telling us now? At the very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood. Yeah. Naturally. Order! Order in court! Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement. Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Yep. Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify, if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described. All right. A frightening and sorrowful sight. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beef steak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit. Wasn't it the professor's gun, though? Yes! Oh. No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all. And what did the judge just say? This is a condemning testimony, indeed. Okay. And then we said, yes! Instead of objection. Because apparently, Runosuke doesn't know the word objection, and he only knows how to say, yes! Which is a bit odd. But we're going with it. Objection! He knows how to say objection. Quiet, you filthy wretch! Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard! And look at this snow-white angel! I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is going to believe. Oh, your channel point reward. Objection works. Still, good. You're still making the same mistakes, Runosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. That's a lesson you need to learn. But he's so annoying! Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the two witnesses who testified before and reported back to the bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. The testimonies of the last two witnesses were completely worthless, however. Well, even so. On the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there is nowhere about her person where she could conceal a firearm. I don't think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to. In her hat, in her brassieres, you know? Unless and until the precise location where the witnesses to have hidden the weapon can be shown, this is moot. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Literally, you could make this, shove it up the swan's butt. Those are the witness's own words on the matter. That's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up her dress, I could... Whoa, okay, Runosuke. Now is not the time for that. Now is not the time for that. Don't think about doing anything rash, Runosuke. But I didn't fire the gun I picked up. There must have been another gun there that day. You're right about that. Which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we will need to pull her testimony apart. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. A frightening and sorrowful sight. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day.
Yes!
After 2 p.m., in fact. That's really quite a late lunch, isn't it?
Objection!
You don't keep up with the latest fashions from Britain, do you? Late luncheons are en vogue, isn't that right? No. A decisive English no has quite a sting to it. The gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's research laboratory, it seems. So it was apparently a daily occurrence that they would lunch together. But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment at the clinic first. Yes, which we can prove from the medical report card that was submitted as evidence earlier. That's right. Miss Brett and the victim went to lunch following the victim's treatment, which is why it was so late. Yes, that all makes perfect sense. Such wonderful logic! What a shining example of the English intelligence this fine gentlewoman is. So you both arrived at the restaurant. What happened next? The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beefsteak.
Yes!
He was unable to eat, you say? Yeah, because of his operation, right? And that was because he just had a tooth removed at the Hotter Clinic, correct? Thank you for the raid, Dr. Horrible. Hope you had a great stream. That's right. You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering? Was Miss Brett aware of that fact? It seems so, yes. She'd heard that the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak pictured here. Is that right, Miss Brett? That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was left after the horrifying events. Exactly as it was left. Dear me, what a harrowing experience! You have traveled to a distant island on the far side of the world and embroiled in such a tragic incident. Have no fear, my dear lady. I swear I will crush the evil fiend that has subjected you to this terrible plight. So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all? That's right. Other than some carbonated water. Just water? Yes, the professor was able to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears that the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. Carbonated water, though? Chat? Carbonated water? Ugh! Please tell me that you guys don't drink fizzy water. It's literally the worst. Okay. I like the pain. Okay, anyway. They each raised a glass of carbonated water. What do you think, Renosuke, about the witness's last statement? I guess we're calling it meaningful. Pathetic little slap. The last statement of yours, Miss Brett, had a profound bearing on this case. Well, how fascinating. Do tell us, what is this profound bearing, The significance of the statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness's last statement to be formally added to the testimony. Well sidestepped, counsel. Very well, Miss Brett. Kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony. Gladly, she said. That was brilliant, Kazuma. I'm going to remember that one. Which one? The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase. I'd hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, Renosuke. I ordered a beefsteak for myself, and the professor and I said cheers over a glass of carbonated water. So why is that significant? I like the magnifying glass, that's pretty cool. Because there's only one glass there, that's why. It doesn't matter if it's water or wine, there's only one glass on the table. And supposedly this is exactly as the scene was when they left it. So, you ready to say yes?
Yes!
That's it! Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with the photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. That it was exactly as it was left. That is correct, the lady says. Well, that is, it's odd. Very odd. Dear me, what's odd is the defense's inability to express itself. Ryunosuke, what is it about this print that looks odd to you? Well, obviously it's the chairs. The chairs? Miss Pett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1. Ah. You're quite right, Counsel. There's only 1 glass pictured here.
Objection!
Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over miniature? What was that word? Nitpicking over minutai? I don't know that word. Nitpicking over minutai. Lots of new words in this game, chat. Feel educated. What possible difference does the presence or absence of a glass make on the case?
Objection!
Minutai, as you say. Could it be that the detective here removed a glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not. I would never do something so reckless. Minutiae. Minutiae. Is that the word, really? Something so minutiae. Okay. But there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Oh, you're going to try and tell me you can clink with only 1? You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table. What? It was also terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked, and I thought I should try to hide the fact that I'd been there at all, she's saying. Good gracious. Sorry. I don't know why I'm doing a weird accent for English. How do you do that? As an English person, trying to communicate English as a foreign language, how the heck do you do that? I can't do a thick accent because she'd be speaking in the most British accent possible. If anything, everyone else should have an accent. Make her cockney. Sorry, mate. Sorry, governor. I don't know. There, as I assured the court before, this is of no consequence at all. Oh, please. We must remember that this student had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or 2 in her state of disarray? That's absurd. Oh, really? So do we take it that you are now going to accuse this vulnerable, young and beautiful woman of mischief? What? No, this can't be put down to mischief. I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene. It would seem that she slipped it into a small handbag she was carrying. Handbag, you say? Yes, Your Excellency. A small, handheld pouch commonly carried by well-to-do women in England. So the beautiful lady has very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now. So she was carrying the gun in her handbag. Right? However, the fact remains that this glass had absolutely no bearing on the case. This student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning, but in the end, it comes to nothing. No more pretentious accusations. You have wasted enough time already. Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed this glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case. Counsel for the defense, are you in agreement? Well, I don't know really. If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that it has some deeper significance. Yes, you're right. So she took the glass away in her handbag. If there's a deeper significance there, it's the handbag. It's the gun. Wait, the lady put the glass in her handbag, you say? Yes, do try to keep up. It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items. Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag. In which it would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun. You're right. Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that too. What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard? It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire that gun, we can deduce there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will. You can't seriously be suggesting. Inspector Hasanaga. Yes? Did you or did you not search Miss Giselle Brett's handbag on the day of the murder? No, sir. I did not. As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag. No! Order, order, order. What is the meaning of this, Inspector? The meaning of what? Prosecutor Ouchie. Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, she now has to endure these uncomfortable accusations. Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask. Do you think so, Kazuma? Ahem. It's a bit like me recently. Oh, not that part, though. Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly you have no faith in the police. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting, simply because it was unnecessary. Unnecessary in what way? I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten about. This photographic print. This print is a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. Okay, her handbag. Some weird... is that a tattoo on his wrist? And the handbag see-through. Yeah, but that could be another pocket. Come on now. Let's not be ridiculous. This print is a photo... yeah, okay. As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag. Oh, well, I never. Oh, you can see through to what's inside. That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment. So the contents are clearly visible. Exactly. So there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. Ah! As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruto-san. Ah! Ah! Order, order! Inspector Hasanaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once. Certainly, Your Excellency. Photograph taken by Hasanaga-san. After the incident occurred, it shows Miss Brett's handbag on a chair by the victim's table. Okay. I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness, counsel. The court has now been shown considerable evidence. As the photographic print just submitted into the court record appears to have no further significance, I am satisfied that there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Indeed, and there is only one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime. No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around. I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Kazuma. I'm sorry, Inosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean... this is it? I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student. But the weaker meet, while the strong eat. You are wasting your time. There is no way to defeat true justice. A fact that you can chew on to your heart's content from the inside of your cell. This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? And Kazuma, his dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma. What? Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph the detective produced that we can contest. Which means there's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue. Oh, very well. I will now proceed immediately to the ruling. It seems we'll be able to report to the British government on time after all. That smug little. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, having considered all of the evidence placed before me, I hereby find you... That was a proper death slam. Wait, Your Excellency! Ryunosuke. I don't think you can rule on this case yet. I wish he said objection right there. I guess his first objection is going to be quite a big deal, but like, I wish that was the objection.
Objection!
This amateurishness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom.
Yes!
Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As this photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now, that means that if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail, I mean, then ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question.
Objection!
And it's blatant straw clutching. Look at this photographic print. All it shows is the handbag the gentleman was carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence. You'd better know what you're doing, Brunosuke. I understand your objection, counsel. Certainly the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag. Ha! Are my thoughts exactly? Oh, really? The prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes. Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it. Oh, very well. I will grant the defense one final opportunity. What? But be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. That's cool animation. I like that. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Your Excellency. So, take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hasanaga submitted before. You will identify for the court where in this print we see the significant detail to which you have alluded. It's gotta have something to do with it. I don't know. It's gotta be this, right? I don't know what else there is. Let's take a look at the evidence a second. We don't have any way of proving that that's not the professor, do we? I think I'm just gonna have to go with it because it's the only thing that sticks out, right? I'll try it.
Yes!
Look at this here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Objection!
Dear me, I was pondering what new piffle you would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist. Clearly, that has nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag. Yes, that is a burn mark. You're right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report. What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either. The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. It's like a bullhead, isn't it? However, as Prosecutor Ouchie points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn. Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the Dean and other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now. Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway. What's your thinking on this, Runosuke? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with the case? To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging, in the hope that I might uncover something useful. Yes, you're right. I am? If we can just link that burn to the case, if we can do that, we might be able to prise this shutting door. We might be able to prise this shutting door back open again. Just give up, counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that. Indeed, I'm afraid that without evidence, I can't allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture. But if we had evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case, then you would allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Really? I have to find some link between that burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what that burn really means. So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates an inextricable connection between the victim's burn and this trial. Alright, we need to look at everything. Single bullet focus range, fatal hemorrhage from this trauma, no exit wound, bullet did not cross the body. Yeah, it's not that. Don't see it possibly being the photograph of the victim. Sketch of the restaurant's layout on the back. On the front, it stated that he's an inspector. Medical report card. A record of dental work. On the day of the murder, the victim had undergone dental treatment and prohibited from eating or drinking anything but water. I'm not seeing anything here, guys. This is clearly a record of some kind of medical treatment. And there's an entry for the day the professor was killed. Extraction with use of anesthesia. Extraction? So he had a tooth out? Yes, it sounds like just before he went for lunch, Dr. Wilson had to have a decayed tooth removed. They probably used laughing gas so he couldn't feel anything. It's the latest medical advancement in the West. Yes, I've heard people talking about this new idea of anesthetic. It's impossible to imagine not being able to feel pain, though. There's a cautionary note at the end from whoever wrote this. It says, no food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off. Heck Muffins, thank you so much for the raid. Hey guys, how you doing? How you doing? It's a heckin' raid. Love it. Love it. How's your stream, Heck Muffins? What'd you get up to today? Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone. How you doing? How you doing? Welcome, welcome, Raiders! What have you guys been up to? What are you guys doing today? Game of Life 2? Oh, nice! I need to try that at some point. I definitely need to try that at some point. Mike's in focus again, for goodness sake. Lovely 10 hours, so I'm gonna lay down. Oh, catch you later. Among Us in the Game of Life. Nice, 10-hour stream. Ooh, you must be exhausted. Subscribe. Hey, thank you for the 9 months as well, Heck Muffins. Really, really appreciate it. Go have a good rest. Go have a good sleep. Thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate it. Welcome, welcome, everyone. How are you guys all doing? How are you guys doing? All right, let's get back to this. You raided at a great time because I'm stuck. Significance of the burn. I don't... I don't see anything. The pin look like? It's an object. Oops. Go right down. I'm looking for an object that looks like bull's horns, and I'm struggling to find anything. The burn's an upside down bull, surely. I mean, that's what it looks like. But what does that mean? Oh! 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 Right here! Look! So his wrist burned here. There it is. We found it. Okay, cool, cool.
Yes!
What's this, Council? Yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore. Do hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvene this poor lady any further would really be quite inexcusable. Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer, if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason it's recorded here forevermore. What? How?
Objection!
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is it in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn?
Yes!
The beef steak? Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. The plates. Your Excellency, are you alright? As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of Le Carnaval. The emblem on the plate. And the victim's burn are exactly the same shape. Ryunosuke, you genius. You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Objection!
But even if that is the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, or the day before that. It most likely happened at some other unrelated time. Well,
Objection!
Sadly, Prosecutor Ouchie, the chances of that are extremely slim. Thanks. Why? The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hasanaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly. But... I would say looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago, and although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of Le Carnaval, I can testify to that without hesitation. But you're a detective, not a waiter! That's what I was thinking. How could he be head waiter?
Yes!
There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burned themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yet Inspector Hasanaga never heard the professor scream. Not on that day or any before it. That's right, and the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day, that would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel. Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, the old antiques dealer, all of us would, without any question, have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Ouchie? Well, yes, I suppose. So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it, Ryunosuke. Do you think... Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson... Okay, this is actually kind of tough. He definitely wasn't asleep, that's ridiculous, but like, was already deceased or hadn't noticed the burn because of the laughing gas, right? But then the laughing gas wouldn't still be... I reckon he was already dead. I think he was already dead. Hang on, our fire alarm just went off and stopped. Let me just check to see what that's about. Yeah, Toby set his hair on fire, it's no big deal. Okay, not actually his hair, but... Toby burned the house down because of a new game. I'm doing good, Smiling Days, how are you doing? Right, I'm gonna go with already deceased, and if it's wrong, it's wrong. No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible. Apart from in one particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting? Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead. Already dead? Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beef steak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead. That's madness! Order, please! Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot. That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly he has no grasp of the facts.
Objection!
No, Prosecutor Ouchie, it's you who has no grasp of the facts. I beg your pardon. As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement. But Your Excellency, the justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment. Thank you, Your Excellency. What was that smile? Yes, of course. 9 mean... I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours. Oh, look who suddenly speaks the language, huh? Look who speaks the common tongue. Miss Brett, you speak Japanese? Well, of course I do. I am studying in your country after all. But then why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now? My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible. But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level. Oh, you are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honoured by this lavish consideration you so graciously afford us. I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson. So we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting. Ryunosuke. The victim's death. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. Oof. This is toned down racism? Yikes. Wow. That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you. Easy does it. I hope that is the last time I will have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Jesus! Wow. Okay. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone. Not at all. Not at all. It is a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady. And as it seems very clear from your testimony that this is boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today. A Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen. Thanks? Was that a prayer then? Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with a cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. I'm sure we don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with the witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? Final cross-examination. All right. What? What a goof. Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with the cross-examination. The victim's death. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. Yes!
Yes!
But his hand was on a searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't not have noticed. Do you think so? Let me ask you something. Sorry? Ever since I arrived at this courtroom, and even still now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. You can't not have noticed, can you? Huh? What? Ah! How embarrassing. What fun. You hadn't realized. Oh, the dear lady is absolutely right. As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself, Ryunosuke. Why didn't you tell me? Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. He chose honourable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brains imagine such a thing? Oh yes, I think my tiny brain can. Well, I can't. Anyway. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast.
Yes!
As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water, is that right? Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at that time, if you remember. Which explains why he ordered that drink. Correct, waiter? Exactly as you say, sir. Although... Whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak on the table... I'm afraid I don't remember that. Damn you. I have enough English to understand that at least. For the benefit of others in court, it means bless you. I think it means the exact opposite. Anyway. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot.
Yes!
Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. A fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma. Yes. Luckily for all of us, the little blood on the wrist isn't going to kill us. And as there were no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death, it could only have been the bullets from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life. It doesn't make sense. The burn must have happened straight away, when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, that's true. If it had cooled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make him burn like that. And if the victim burned his wrist on a hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must already have been dead at that point.
Objection!
And yet the fact is that the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Until you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time. I concur. Prosecutor Ouchie is right. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. Do we have any way of showing poison right now? I don't think so.
Yes!
Without leaving a trace. If someone is shot, or strangled, or stabbed, or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body. Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hasanaga? As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. There would be physical traces of all those causes of death, that's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark. If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. It's a challenge. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it? Oh no, perish the thought. Calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question, on my honor, I, Takatsuchi Ouchi, will cut down any who dare cast such aspersions. Way of killing someone that leaves no trace. We need some evidence to back us up here. Yes, evidence. Alright, we'll come back to that. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway.
Yes!
Inferior? Oh, what do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene later for examination. But in this country, you investigate once, and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. The Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly. Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. Why is he coughing? What? What's happening over here? It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can. You understand. Ah, a killer blow! The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful. Amazing. Oh, amazing. He's actually admitted our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Ouchie is finally starting to see. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right. It's his reaction. What do you think, Ryunosuke? I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected. She's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Kazuma. What, Ryunosuke? There is one thing I noticed. Something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her. Inspector Hasanaga. The detective? Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant. If it might present an opening, maybe. Oh, she's poisoned him as well. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. If you think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then. I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose. Once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again. Okay. How's this work then? Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the land of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene later for examination. But in this country, you investigate once, and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right! La Carnival is open for business as usual today, just after the incident. Exactly. Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. Right, what do I do? Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right, look at him. He's lost in his own thoughts. It's time to pursue the man and his train of thought. Sorry, pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. It's all to do with the witness marker. What marker? At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. But by moving the marker left and right with A and D, you can turn your attention to other people on the stand. While you're looking at the other witness, you'll be able to pursue them with space. If you can catch the person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. That's cool, I like that. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people on the stand, take a good look around. Alright then, so first I should move the marker across with AD, focus on the detective, then pursue him with space and see what's on his mind. Here we go. Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Yeah! What's the meaning of this? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts. Deeply. It looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say? If there's something you'd like to say, please, share it with the court.
Objection!
What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find a fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately. Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not. The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes! Not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved in the case. Inspector Hasanaga. Yes. Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Well, yes, if you don't mind. I would like to speak. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain, which is why I, Satoru Hasanaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. A crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example. Is that... This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. 0! Thank you for the 11 months, mate. Appreciate it. Lots of love for 0 in the chat, please. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And yes, it's lost all its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day, our police force will be amongst the best in the world. The time is coming. I guarantee it. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence. Yeah, he drank some of it, maybe. Miss Brett, can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death? Yes, it was that bottle. What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well. Counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor. Okay. Right.
Yes!
There we go. What is this? The bottle of water? Actually, there is one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison. Poison? On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? We don't have a motive, though. We don't know anything about this woman. Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? Order, order, order! And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could possibly have done it. Josiah Brett. It was you!
Objection!
This is outrageous! To suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence! You little rookie imbecile! Have you even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we have only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling that your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime. What? The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth. If I may, I will silence you forever for this disgraceful attack on... She just shut up. Oh my god. It is you who should be silent. Of course. Dear lady. Where did that come from? She just snapped. I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies. I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring? I described your police force as inferior, but no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector, and whether it contained poison or not. Of course. You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. Did you drink it? And what did you find, Inspector? I ordered tests for every toxin that's available in this country. Oh, in this country at the present time. Wrong voice, sorry. We could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency. What? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself. No! I'm very grateful to all of you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you. But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours. I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned. Thank you, counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett. Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved. Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present the court at this point? Kazuma. I'm sorry, Unosuke. I have nothing more. Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving.
Hold it!
Oh, is this the young woman that was with the professor? Yep. Please, wait. Isn't that... What is the meaning of this? Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotaba, judicial assistant to the defense. Mikotaba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package wrapped in a furoshiki cloth. Judicial, sorry. Judicial, not judical. Wow, to be continued? Well, that was me thinking we were practically at the end of this trial. We got it to be continued. So it is not over yet, but that's seems like a pretty good time to end for today. We're finishing it probably next week. Hope you guys enjoyed. Save complete. There we go.